Hello and welcome to the Sort YouTube channel. My name is Paddy. I'm a single Christian guy in my late 20s, and today I'm going to be talking about something quite close to my own heart, which is how to manage dating well when you're struggling with a chronic illness. For the past 7 years, I've been struggling with and slowly overcoming my own chronic illness. It took several years to find the root cause of the problem and several more years to find a solution that would actually start to push things in the right direction. During this time, I experienced life-altering symptoms which included so little energy that I was bedridden for months, an incredibly weakened immune system, constant pain, and neurological challenges. The rest of my journey with that is a story for another time, but long story short, it had turned out that after being bitten by a tick several years ago, I'd not only transmitted Lyme's disease, but also inherited a number of other nasty co-infections that, given the right catalyst, became incredibly active and completely debilitating. During this time, I was determined to live as normally as I possibly could, so I continued to work in whatever capacity I could, and I continued to date so that I didn't let this illness define me. So here are some of the things that I learned along my own journey that I think would be really helpful to share. Okay, so number one, make sure that you're managing your energy well, especially in the early stages of dating and particularly on first dates. That means making sure that you're not overcommitting to things that realistically are going to completely wipe you out. If you have to travel miles and miles to go and see someone and that is realistically going to be too much for you, make sure that you put that boundary in place for yourself. Similarly, if you are meeting up with someone who wants to do something active for a first date, let's say go hiking or walking, maybe suggest meeting up as a coffee as an alternative instead. Make sure that you are only committing to what you can realistically manage for yourself without compromising your health further. This also helps to set the expectation for people for the kind of activities that you would be comfortable doing going forwards as well. Okay, so number two is very heavily linked to number one, but taking this even further, make sure that you are being authentic and honest with people in your dating experience. Now, it can often be really challenging to know when the right time is to start sharing information about your health, especially when it's something that makes you feel quite vulnerable. I would say, as a general rule, on a first date or anything beforehand, you don't have to divulge too much information. You're just trying to see if you get along reasonably well. If you're going on a second date and onwards, that's when the compatibility factors start to become much more important, and that's when it's really important to start opening up about your own struggles when it's something that affects your life so much. And I would say make sure that you're actively challenging your own assumptions around how someone will respond to that. You know, it can be so difficult to open up and be vulnerable with someone else when you're in a place in life where you're already vulnerable. But by opening up and being honest with someone, you have the opportunity to build a real connection and allow them to do the same as well. And you don't have to divulge all of your feelings and thoughts around where you are in life right now straight away. That takes trust, and building trust is a really important part of building a relationship in general. But start by testing the waters with something small. Maybe just say, over the last few years, I've been struggling with this illness and it's a big part of my life right now, and I think that you should know about it. You'd be amazed at maybe how much it allows someone else to open up as well. Equally, you need to be prepared for the fact that some people may not want to continue dating you after you divulge that information. But that's okay, they have their reasons. That doesn't make them a bad person, that doesn't make you of any less worth or value. It just means that that relationship is not the right fit at that point in time. And it took me so long to realize this myself and for this to finally sink in, but I want to say it right here, right now, in case there's any doubt. Who you are is not your circumstances. You are so much bigger than the trials that you're currently having to face, and your character will shine through. Do not make the mistake of thinking that this illness completely defines you. Especially as Christians, we know that our identity is rooted in Christ and the one who created us. There are so many bigger things that define who we are than the circumstances that we currently find ourselves in. So never, ever be ashamed of limitations or things that are currently out of your control. And if they can't, that is okay, but they are not the right person for you at this point in your life. Never try and hide your limitations for the sake of trying to make something work out, because I guarantee you that thing will not work out long term. Okay, so number three is communication. So if you are in a long-term relationship, make sure that when you are going through a really difficult time, when things are declining physically, mentally, or you're just having a really rough patch, that you communicate that with your partner and have those open and honest conversations. Because I guarantee if you try and bottle those things up and take them on alone, you will end up lashing out at someone, and that someone could be your partner. And look, guys, I get it. I know, especially as a man, how difficult it can be to open yourself up and to be emotionally vulnerable for fear of coming across too needy or not independent enough. But ultimately, by being emotionally open, the chances are you will build a better connection with your partner and avoid the risk of hurting them through trying to carry this load on your own. However, and this applies to so much more than just this specific topic, make sure you're not putting your partner on a pedestal. If you're looking for someone to fix or complete you and making them the sole source of your happiness, the chances are you'll end up driving them away, because that's just way too much pressure to put on one individual. And I know when things are really tough, it's so easy to fall into that pattern of rooting your happiness in someone else. But as Christians, we have the privilege of knowing that we can root our hope, happiness, contentment, and joy in life in Christ and the hope that He offers. This also means that you need to be thinking about your partner's needs during this time as well, especially the need for space. When we're in the midst of this struggle, it's so easy to take for granted the fact that our partners are also carrying this emotional burden with us. And they have to be pretty incredible people already to be able to commit to a relationship that is probably more difficult than most others. But they are still human, and they only have so much they can give before they need to recharge and take care of their own needs as well. That means that there may be time where your partner needs space either on their own or with their friends and family away from you to be able to recharge, not because they're rejecting you, but because they need that additional capacity to be able to continue this journey with you. That mindset of thinking about your partner's own needs as well requires an incredible amount of selflessness, especially when you're feeling like absolute trash yourself. But it is the only way that you're going to develop a healthy and long-lasting relationship. And my final point would be, make sure that you're involving God in your relationship and praying together. We have a God who is all good and all loving and can use even the most dire and desperate situations for good. So make sure that as a couple you're continuing to pray together and involving Him in your relationship, but don't expect healing to come straight away. Instead, make sure that you are praying that your character continues to develop and that the fruits of the Spirit are shown even in this really difficult time, because that will serve as such a powerful testimony and allow you to have so much more capacity to love each other well. So, in summary, in the early stages of dating, make sure that you are bringing your real self to the table. Set the correct level of expectations early on to make sure you end up with someone who really appreciates you for who you are and where you are in life. When you do get to the point of being in a committed relationship, make sure that you are communicating your needs, fears, and anxieties with your partner, whilst also acknowledging that it's not their responsibility to solely make you happy or fix you, and make sure that they are taking care of themselves as well. Always involve God in the relationship, because He can do far more than we can do ourselves. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you found this video helpful, at least in some small way. I know that I would have really appreciated something like this when I was going through my own journey. If you like this video and would like to see more like this, then please click the subscribe button below, and please also do check out the other videos on our channel.